Okay, well, Cecilia, you wrote the chapter on employee relations in our book, and we thought we'd like to ask you what, in your view, are the three most important current developments in employee relations. So what would you say was your first of three?
Okay, so the first of three I would say would be related to employee voice. So this is about employees having a say in the organisation and feeling as though they can influence decisions. What we've seen over the last sort of 10, 15 years is a shift from collective to individual forms of voice. And what the research evidence suggests is that employees feel as though they have a wider range of opportunities to voice their concerns and their happiness at work, yet there are doubts and questions about how effective some of the wider mechanisms are. So they feel as though they have a say, but there are doubts about whether or not their say is responded to, acted upon, and how much they're actually listened to.
And is it that they really most want voice around their own areas of work? Or are we talking here about the way that the organisation is run strategically?
Yeah, the research suggests that their employees would appreciate both. The most immediate would be in terms of their own area of work, where they have their expertise and they are the most expert in that area and able to innovate, make decisions, and also suggest changes which are going to be helpful. But more broadly than that, for their own engagement, voice is seen as one of the key drivers of employee engagement. So for many people, if they are looking to retain their engagement with the overall organisation, then what's really important for them is feeling as though they can input into the organisational decision-making processes.
Okay, then what's your second
Okay,
choice?
so second, I would highlight the area of conflict. Again, we've seen shifts from collective conflict to individual forms of conflict, and this will continue to some degree. What we have certainly experienced in terms of the turbulent external context is that people are expressing their dissatisfaction in different ways, and ultimately up to and including strike action. With the trade union legislation that is forthcoming, that may well require employees to articulate their dissatisfaction in different ways. And there could be other implications for managers as well. So some of the things that managers might need to think about is how they handle difficult conversations. And some of the things that agencies such as ACAS are trying to promote are early resolution of conflict and mediation. But these things are still quite new, still in their infancy. So I would imagine that there will be increasing development of these areas in organisations over the next 5 years.
Could you say a little bit about what you mean by individual conflict? How does an individual get involved in industrial conflict?
So individually, this could be someone who's unhappy with an aspect of their terms and conditions at work, raises their concerns, and this could be, for example, about their pay, their working conditions, their job description. It could be something that they try to resolve through their manager informally in the first instance, and then possibly traditionally through a grievance mechanism. But some of the advice from ACAS and the initiatives promoted by the government are suggesting that we need to look at alternative dispute resolution mechanisms which don't rely entirely on traditional grievance and disciplinary measures. So there might be more opportunities for mediation for parties who are undergoing conflict to have some difficult conversations and try to resolve things informally before relationships break down.
Okay, what's the third of the three?
So the third key area that's going to be quite a challenge, I think, for organisations is around trust. So in the current external environment, many organisations have found themselves unable to maintain promises that they might have made to employees. These promises could be really central to creating and sustaining positive employment relationships, psychological contracts. And therefore, if organisations are unable to deliver on their promises and fulfil them, then employees may perceive that they cannot trust organisations. So that can have implications for attitudes and behaviours, which could be negative both for individuals and organisations. So one of the challenges will be how organisations can regain the trust, whilst at the same time, for many organisations in the public sector, for example, they're still having to undertake difficult things which may go contrary to rebuilding trust.
Thank you very much.